Look what's been spotted testing in Las Vegas. Tesla's Cybercab. A couple of shots have appeared online. Interestingly, these are not Tesla Model Ys preparing for the launch of autonomy in Las Vegas, which is to occur in the first half of this year, at least according to Tesla's most recent earnings report. They laid out their milestones for Robotaxi. A number of cities, first half of the year, including the recent launches in Dallas and Houston. Las Vegas is also on that list, as is Phoenix, Miami, Orlando, and Tampa. The timing seems to be lining up pretty well. Keep in mind, although Tesla is currently using Model Ys to operate their fully autonomous vehicles in a few different cities in the US, the longer-term plan has always been the dedicated Robotaxi, the Cybercab, which we're seeing on screen now. How many more cities left, which will first launch with Model Ys before that model is out the window? And every new city Tesla launches autonomy in begins with nothing but Cybercabs. The real question is, when do investors, and I don't just mean retail investors, but investors with very deep pockets, really start to believe Tesla autonomy is happening and it will be at massive scale? We're now going to read an article by Alexandra Mers, aka Tesla Boomer Mama, on the potential Tesla and SpaceX merger. She clearly has some thoughts. The title of this post on X: A True Merger of Equals. How 50-50 ownership delivers an implicit premium for Tesla shareholders. So before we read this, we can all agree it's inevitable that Tesla and SpaceX merge at some point in time, right? I don't think there's a single person that doesn't think this is likely to happen. Even those who don't want it to happen still think it's likely. The synergies, the overlaps, it just makes sense. The real questions that remain are how and when and at what valuations. Let's get into the post. In a recent post, I outlined my updated conviction after deep research and discussions with fellow Tesla advocates like TSLA that the integration of Tesla with SpaceX post its XAI merger is increasingly likely to take the form of a genuine merger of equals, not a traditional acquisition where the larger entity simply swallows the smaller one at prevailing market prices, but a balanced stock-for-stock transaction structured at a true 50-50 ownership split in the combined company. And jumping in here, can confirm, as a Tesla shareholder, were this to happen at a 50-50 split, e.g. both companies valued equally, I'd be very happy with this. Right now, I really don't think the market's fully appreciating Tesla's intrinsic value. So let's say what happened today, SpaceX could IPO around 2 trillion. Tesla, as I recall, is about 1.25 trillion. Wouldn't be the worst outcome, but I don't think it'd be entirely fair on long-term Tesla shareholders when, quote-unquote, the market hasn't fully appreciated what Tesla is doing and will do with autonomy. Back to the post. It is my view that this would deliver an implicit premium to Tesla shareholders, even if Tesla's market cap appears lower than SpaceX's at announcement. So yeah, just to be clear, let's say hypothetically SpaceX IPOs at $1.75 trillion. This is the rumored amount, but of course there's rumors up to 2, who knows, whatever. And at the time, Tesla's market cap is 1.25, basically exactly as it is today. If it's a 50-50 transaction, that would actually imply a premium on Tesla of 40%. That's how you get from 1.25 trillion to 1.75. It's an interesting idea. The exchange ratio would be fixed to reflect equal value, with Tesla holders effectively receiving a lift from the combined entity's synergies and future growth trajectory. My base case timeline remains aggressive but realistic. So obviously this is Alexandra's speculation about how and when this happens. Announcement in the short weeks following SpaceX's expected IPO. Ideally thereafter before the 15 trading day NASDAQ 100 inclusion window, with a consummated merger, including any necessary S&P 500 adjustments targeted for summer 2027. So give or take roughly a year after SpaceX IPOs, this is when she's thinking in the aggressive situation, this could be done. From announcement onward, the two stocks would trade in near perfect lockstep as merger arbitrages and the market price in the high probability of closure. This structure aligns incentives, minimizes unnecessary dilution for existing holders, and positions the combined entity for exponential scale across AI, robotics, energy, and multiplanetary infrastructure. The next heading, merger of equals versus traditional acquisition. A traditional acquisition typically involves one company, the acquirer, here SpaceX, purchasing another, the target, here Tesla, outright, often paying a cash or stock premium, commonly 20 to 40% over the target's unaffected market price, to secure board and shareholder approval. And just to be clear, for those who aren't like super finance nerds, the reason in a case like this, an acquiring company would pay a premium, as Alexandra is pointing out, is so the shareholders who are voting, yes, we would like to be acquired, don't say, hang on, bruh, what's in it for me? This is why you pay a premium. so that it's very hard for shareholders and the board to say, no, this is totally unreasonable and not in the best interest of our shareholders. Because if the shareholders are getting a meaningful premium, 20, 30, 40% above what the stock's currently being valued at, then it's hard to argue with that being in your best interest as a shareholder. And funnily enough, that 40% figure, I hadn't read this article before I started recording, but the example I gave, Tesla 1.25 as I record, SpaceX may IPO 1.75. If you put a 40% premium on Tesla at 1.25 trillion, bam, suddenly you're literally at 1.75 trillion. Fancy that. The acquirer's shareholders may face dilution while the target's shareholders cash out or receive shares in the larger entity, usually with the acquirer retaining control and governance dominance. So this was the explanation of how a traditional acquisition might work. In contrast, a merger of equals, just getting its own little acronym, is structured as a true partnership. Companies combine via stock-for-stock exchange on roughly equal ownership terms, e.g. 50-50, regardless of current market cap differences. Valuations are negotiated to an agreed equity value, often implying an uplift, premium, for the seemingly smaller party's shareholders. Governance is shared or balanced, frequently with a new holding company or adjusted share classes, and the deal emphasizes long-term synergies over immediate control shifts. A merger of equals reduces hostility risks, regulatory friction in some cases, and can be more tax efficient, potentially qualifying as tax-free reorganizations. They reward long-term believers in both entities by giving them proportional upside in the unified platform. Exactly the setup that could work here. And again, I jump in. This would be totally fine with me. In fact, my ideal stock portfolio would be a 50-50 split between SpaceX and Tesla. And the only way that's going to happen is if not only is there a merger, but it is a 50-50 one. The reason for that is my Tesla holdings right now have grown enough that I would probably need to work a few centuries to accumulate enough capital to invest and actually buy enough SpaceX to eventually build up a stake that represented roughly half my entire stock portfolio. Or alternatively, I could sell a fuck ton of Tesla, pay a fuck ton of capital gains taxes, roast myself for being a dumb fuck and selling Tesla and paying all these taxes, and then invest the proceeds in SpaceX, which would be crazy. There are probably at least a few other Tesla shareholders in a situation similar to myself who bought some Tesla, bought more Tesla, have seen pretty strong growth on that Tesla, would like to own a very decent slice of SpaceX, and the only way that happens, without them getting completely fucked and having to sell huge amounts of Tesla, pay capital gains taxes, would be a 50-50 merger. Back to the post. A merger of equals does not legally prevent other companies from bidding on Tesla or submitting a counteroffer. Standard merger agreements include a robust deal protection provisions designed to provide certainty while preserving fiduciary duties. These typically feature no-shop clauses that prohibit the parties from actively soliciting alternative offers, combined with fiduciary outs that still allow the Tesla board to consider and negotiate an unsolicited superior proposal if one clearly emerges and serves shareholders better. In such cases, the original partner, which would be SpaceX in this situation, usually receives matching rights, often a 3 to 5 business day window, sometimes with last look or reset provisions, to match or improve upon the competing bid before the deal can be terminated. If the superior proposal ultimately prevails, a termination, breakup fee, commonly in the range of 2 to 4% of the deal's equity value, which would be enormous in this situation, though sometimes higher depending on negotiation, is payable to the jilted party as compensation for its time, costs, and opportunity. These mechanisms significantly raise the bar for any third-party interloper. A competing bidder must offer enough value to overcome not only the negotiated synergies and implicit premium of the merger of equals, but also the financial cost of the termination fee and the procedural hurdles of matching rights. In the context of a massive same ecosystem Tesla plus SpaceX combination, additional barriers, including enormous scale, complex regulatory reviews, antitrust, space, export controls, blah, 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 and aligned strategic vision under Elon, would make a successful unsolicited bid exceptionally difficult and rare, though not impossible if a dramatically better all-cash or higher value offer materializes and passes fiduciary scrutiny. Now, just to be clear, I can count on my fingerless hand the number of companies that could actually make such an offer. I don't think there's too many companies at the moment with a spare 1.25 trillion and or the willingness to take on enough debt to make that sort of a transaction price, let alone whacking a massive premium on top of it. Strategic sequencing and timeline. The cleanest path remains SpaceX announcing within weeks after the IPO a merger of equals with Tesla, locking in an exchange ratio that values both sides equally. This sequence minimizes public company hurdles early on and sets up stronger synergies. And yeah, we've talked about these a ton on the channel. Orbital, AI, compute via Starlink, Grok models powering Tesla's autonomy, Optimus, blah, 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 blah. We know the story. It makes so much sense for these companies to be in bed together. Another thing not mentioned here directly, SpaceX will be manufacturing an absolute fuck ton of solar. You heard that right. SpaceX getting into the solar production business because they need the solar on their AI satellites. Or they could unite with Tesla and then the one company is making the solar since Tesla already makes solar as a product. Realistic, if optimistic timeline under Texas law and Elon's dual control would be the IPO, e.g. of SpaceX, around late June 2026. Announcement by mid-July about the potential 50-50 merger. Tesla shareholders vote by late October or early November 2026. And the deal closing in mid-2027. Regulatory reviews would run in parallel but benefit from a friendly same ecosystem deal. Midterm election timing adds urgency to wrap it all as soon as possible. Yeah, you don't want the Elon bad parasites interfering in this potential transaction. Next section, compensation plan impacts, protecting Elon's incentives while limiting dilution. Tesla's 2018 and 2025 CEO Performance Awards interact favourably in a merger scenario. The 2018 options, 304 million shares, are fully earned and unaffected beyond normal exercise rules with a January 2028 expiry date. The 2025 award, just over 423 million restricted shares in 12 tranches, which at the time represented roughly 1% ownership per tranche in Tesla, and along with that another 1% voting control, would trigger change in control provisions. Earned milestones accelerate vesting. Operational hurdles may be waived or recalculated based on the deal's fair market cap valuation. And just to be clear, the highest tranche in terms of market cap in Musk's 2025 CEO Performance Award was $8.5 trillion. If this 50-50 merger happens, just double that. That would be the fair recalculated market cap target. Double it. Can someone say $17 trillion? $17 trillion? It really rolls off the tongue, doesn't it? And unearned shares could be forfeited or adjusted. Overall, this could simplify or even reduce net dilution for existing shareholders while still aligning Elon's incentives in the larger entity. Elon's higher ownership stakes in SpaceX and the dual share class of SpaceX, and this is very important by the way, will translate into a meaningfully larger position in the combined public entity without needing massive new grants. Remember, voting power, which I guess this article is about to get to, is very important to Musk, and he has a special class of shares currently in SpaceX, in addition to the fact that he owns a huge slice of the company. This is actually the fastest way for Musk to reach his goal of Tesla not ownership but voting control, the merger. Shareholder voting power and retail's critical role. Under Tesla's Texas Certificate of Formation, a merger requires approval by a majority of all outstanding shares, not just votes cast, and this is a huge hurdle to overcome. People that don't participate in the vote are an automatic no. With around 3.75 billion shares outstanding, that means more than 1.876 billion yes votes. Elon's approximate 413 million shares would obviously vote in favour. Unearned 2025 award shares would follow proportional mirror voting, e.g. also yes. Retail and supportive institutions must deliver the remaining 1.25 billion yes votes. This is achievable, especially with the implicit premium and synergies, but demands organised turnout. Yet no shit, Sherlock. This will be a monumental undertaking. Remember, non-votes count as no, so every share matters. Make sure you can vote, and yeah, make fucking sure you can vote. If the last time you tried to vote on a proxy matter for a Tesla shareholder meeting and your brokerage said, I'm sorry, we can't do that. What the fuck are you doing, bro? Stop the video, find a brokerage that allow you to vote, and move. Institutional scrutiny and index flows. Big three to big six stewardship teams. After the whole DEI debacle, the big three, BlackRock, Vanguard, and State Street, listing those with more than 3% of Tesla shares, split stewardship into two distinct groups each. So now boards have to address 6 independent teams, each applying fiduciary lenses focused on long-term value, fair process, and conflict management. A related party merger of equals would face intense review by all 6. Independent fairness, opinions, arm's length terms, and clear premiums will be non-negotiable. State Street's past opposition to Tesla, well, Musk's pay package and imperfect mirror voting mechanics in the S&P 500, blah, 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 underscores the need for Tesla holders to review their ETF holdings and consider alternatives with vote with management options where available. Yes, so anyone that owns Tesla via index funds, e.g. the S&P 500, if those shares are not held somewhere that they will vote with management automatically on all matters, you need to move that too. Index funds, a tailwind triggering memories. On the positive side, a post-IPO SpaceX and Tesla merger of equals could trigger massive passive inflows. Nasdaq 100 fast entry rule with 5 times float multiplier for low free float stocks, plus S&P 500 mechanics, deleting Tesla, and adding the survivor and reweighting, could drive tens of billions in mechanical buying. Now, just to be clear, for those who are not going, what the fuck, S&P 500 gives you a slice of the 500 largest companies in the US by market cap. Let's just say there's a company that's worth 1% of the entire S&P 500. They must own a 1% weighting of that company. They have to buy in proportion to its market cap. If SpaceX were to IPO, it will already require a huge amount of forced buying by index funds. But if Tesla and SpaceX merge, the same applies. Potentially tens of billions of dollars in mechanical buying. They must buy. They have no choice to buy. Back to the article. Far earlier and smoother than a standalone SpaceX path. Tesla holders who stay through the deal capture this tailwind plus the premium. The next section is titled, Why Hold Tesla Shares? I don't sell for the IPO. Selling Tesla now to chase SpaceX IPO shares risks missing the acquisition premium and any lockstep upside. Post-announcement arbitrage keeps the stocks aligned. Tesla holders get the implicit 50-50 lift without paying it twice. The combined entities, total addressable market, autonomy, robotics, orbital AI data, we get it right, dwarfs either alone and accelerates timelines dramatically. Conclusion, this isn't guaranteed. Nothing in Elon's world ever is until it's filed. But the breadcrumbs, recent cross-investments, governance shifts to Texas, talk about a silver lining from the Delaware dramas, dual-class flexibility at SpaceX, index rule changes, and strategic synergies point strongly toward a true merger of equals that rewards patient Tesla shareholders with both a premium today and exponential upside tomorrow. The 50-50 structure, implicit premium, and post-IPO timing solve voting, control, dilution, and index flow challenges better than alternatives. We, Tesla retail holders, have real agency. Ensure you can vote, motherfuckers. Really though, I said it before. If you're still watching the video and you didn't pause it when I said last time we couldn't vote, and you didn't pause it, go fucking find a new brokerage now, bro. Sure you can vote. Then vote yes when the time comes. Engage institutions constructively, and above all, hold through the volatility. The unified company won't just be the world's most valuable. It will be the one that makes humanity multiplanetary and AI abundant. What a time to be alive. Let's make it happen together. And then, of course, the disclaimer, not financial advice. All views are my own based on public information and analysts as of April 2026. Read my past articles for full context on each point, blah, fucking blah, blah, blah. We get it. Cool. Now, I don't know what's going to happen here, but I will say this is my perfect outcome. I've said it before, I'll say it again. I'm on the record for a long time. My perfect portfolio, 50% Tesla, 50% SpaceX. I cannot make that happen without extremely high financial penalties unless a 50-50 merger takes place. And then my Tesla shares become an equal proportion of SpaceX. That would be so fucking great. And I strongly suspect there are a number of other Tesla retail shareholders who would also like a roughly 50% share of SpaceX and Tesla in their portfolio. And for them too, the only way to reasonably make that happen is probably the 50-50 merger. I'd love to know what you guys think, so let me know in the comments below. What does your perfect stock portfolio look like? Just to finalize and wrap up, I did post this poll recently asking the question, the perfect portfolio is, and roughly half of the respondents said all in on Tesla. The other half though, much preferred the idea of a give or take 50-50 split between Tesla and SpaceX. I mean, you can't make this stuff up. Now, obviously, my audience may not be representative of the typical Tesla retail shareholder. Obviously not. I mean, you guys obviously have much bigger dicks and bigger brains, let's be honest. But there's going to be a lot of other people with the same thinking. Big shout out to Alexandra for sharing this. I'm enjoying all the discussion. I got to say, of all the possible ways this could happen, this is absolutely at the top of my list for best outcome for me. Whether or not other investors agree, I don't know. Let me know in the comments below. But this is what I want to see happen. This is the perfect outcome. This is how I get a 50-50 split of the two companies, which eventually become one, that I want to own in my portfolio. Want more content? Early access? A bunch of perks? Click the links in the pinned comment. AG1 has been part of my daily health protocol for almost half a decade. It's packed full of vitamins and minerals and helps me fill in nutritional gaps while supporting energy, digestion, and immune function. It also has prebiotics and probiotics to promote gut health. I take my health very seriously, and so should you. Try AG1 today by visiting drinkag1.com/SMR or click the link in the pinned comment and enjoy a free welcome kit with vitamin D3 plus K2 and AG1 travel packs. That's drinkag1.com/SMR.